Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. The title of this program poses the question, is masturbation a venial sin or a mortal sin? For the past 6 months or so, some of the Catholic channels that I subscribe to have been talking about masturbation. So I decided this might be a good time to investigate the topic and possibly make a video on the subject, since the Catholic videos that I watched did not seem to have its morality correctly determined. I had never watched any videos before about masturbation, especially since I had always considered it a taboo topic. That is, something you do not even mention in polite society. So I decided to see what other YouTube channels were saying. The first word I entered into the YouTube search bar was, logically enough, masturbation. That was a mistake. I was overwhelmed with videos that covered the topic almost entirely from a secular point of view. You can find doctors who run the gamut, from those who say that masturbation is bad for you to those who swear that it's great for you. I soon decided that I needed to learn about the subject from a biblical point of view. So I searched masturbation in the Bible. Well, that search title was not much better. The first 40 or so videos posted were all from a Protestant point of view. After watching 10 or 12 Protestant videos, the majority claimed that masturbation is not in the Bible. And this led to their obvious conclusion that it was not sinful. What they really should have said was that the word masturbation is not in the Bible. Of course, the word abortion, for example, is not in the Bible. But we all know that abortion is a form of murder. So I changed my search title to, Is Masturbation in the Catholic Bible? My frustration only increased when I discovered that was not much better either. The YouTube algorithm concentrated on the word Bible and still recommended almost entirely Protestant videos. Finally, I came up with a useful search title, which also happens to be the title of this program. Is masturbation a venial or a mortal sin? Bingo! That eliminated all of the Protestant videos because, as I soon discovered, they don't distinguish between mortal and venial sin. We will find out, however, on this program, that the Bible indeed distinguishes between mortal sin and venial sin. And in fact, I discovered that sometimes masturbation is a venial sin, and sometimes it is a mortal sin. It is venial if committed by a single man, and mortal if committed by a married man. So let's take a quick look at some of the Catholic videos and find out where they also go wrong. The highest ranked Catholic video on this topic, with 935,000 views, is 15 Catholic sins Catholics are missing in their confessions. The host lists masturbation as one of those mortal sins. Unfortunately, he does not distinguish whether the sin is committed by a single man or a married man. The second ranked video, with 448,000 views, is 12 mortal sins which must be confessed before communion. 2 of those sins that this host enumerates are having sex outside of marriage or with one's self. Again, this host makes no distinction between single men or married men. Incidentally, most of these videos are from a man's perspective, as is the Bible itself. But I'm sure the same rules apply to women. Next, the third-ranked Catholic video on this topic with 263,000 views is Masturbation, a Mortal Sin, was posted by Breaking in the Habit. This host claims that sometimes masturbation is a mortal sin and sometimes a venial sin. Thus, he is much closer to what the Bible teaches. He also appropriately references the sin of Onan in Genesis 38. But again, he does not distinguish between single men and married men. The fourth-ranked video is Masturbation and Pornography Are Mortal Sins by Brother Michael Diamond of VaticanCatholic.com. His video has 119,000 views, but strangely, Brother Diamond makes no reference to either the sin of Onan in Genesis 38 or to the book of Leviticus, which refers to masturbation as an uncleanness. He does, however, refer to St. Paul in Galatians chapter 5, verse 19, where the saint also describes masturbation as an uncleanness. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 to 11, Brother Diamond points to where St. Paul condemns fornicators, and in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 5 and 6, where he condemns both the unclean and fornicators. We will find out, however, that Leviticus does not condemn the unclean. The last video in our list is by Father Carapi, called Masturbation is a Mortal Sin. Again, Father Carapi, like all the other Catholic and Protestant videos posted about this sin, posted here on YouTube, does not distinguish between single and married people. Next, let's review the first instance in Scripture where masturbation is found. Genesis 38. This is where God kills Onan for spilling his seed. Obviously, God considers Onan's masturbation to be a mortal sin. Incidentally, do not listen to the false Protestant pastors who say that Onan was killed by God because he broke the Levirate law by not raising children in his brother's name. That is nonsense. The prescribed punishment in the Bible for breaking that law was that the offended woman could spit in the man's face. Besides, in Genesis 38, both Judah and Shelah broke that same law, and neither one was punished. Here's what Genesis chapter 38 says. He, that is Onan, knowing that the children should not be his, when he went in to his brother's wife, spilled his seed upon the ground, lest children should be born in his brother's name. And therefore the Lord slew him, because he did a detestable thing. So as I said, God's killing of Onan indicates there are some cases where masturbation is a mortal sin or deadly sin. As a side note to you Protestant pastors, please read Martin Luther's treatise on Genesis 38. The next place where masturbation is found in the Bible is in Leviticus chapter 15, verses 1 and 2. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, The man that hath an issue of seed shall be unclean. The prescribed punishment, however, is far less severe than the death penalty given by God to Onan. After some ritual cleansing, this man in Leviticus must donate 2 turtle doves to the priests in the temple. So why does God judge this man's issue of seed to be a venial sin, while Onan's issue of seed was a mortal sin? The only apparent difference is that Onan was married, and this man in Leviticus was single. Elsewhere in Leviticus, chapters 18 and 20, many other kinds of sexual sins are listed, which are categorized as mortal sins, including homosexual relations. But please note, masturbation is not listed. Father Karapi, Brother Diamond, and other Catholic and Protestant scholars need to rethink their universal condemnation of masturbation as a mortal sin, when the Bible clearly states, at least for single people, it is merely a venial sin. And now that I have removed the lid from that cookie jar, there is a huge danger that you single people will spend the rest of the day stealing cookies. Here is where it might be smart to see what the medical community that I mentioned at the beginning of this program say about over masturbating. Also, there is the obvious danger that venial sins will lead to mortal sins. There are videos posted on YouTube where married men admit they prefer masturbation to marital unions with their wives. There is no doubt that is a mortal sin. It violates the first law of God that predates the 10 Commandments. Be fruitful, increase, and multiply. And for those of you who would like to contact me, my address is Post Office Box 291, Osage, Iowa, 50461. Or check out my website, thirdeaglebooks.com. And I hope to see all of you again on my next prophecy video.